Hey, welcome. We are in Drawing for Graphic Design, second half of the semester, which is our portion of the semester that focuses on drawing with Illustrator. And today I'm going to spend just a little bit of time going over the software interface and also how to set up a new document, which I've covered in just general terms previously. But again, the more you repeat this kind of a process, the more second nature it comes and easier it is to do each time. We'll also start with this after we go over the interface. We'll also be working with type a little bit. I wanted to try to work this with you. I'll demonstrate it for you, or at least part of it for you today, and work on the remainder of it later. So if you're on a Mac, and I'm going to go over here on a Mac and go to the Launchpad. If you don't, or you can go into your applications folder as well. You just want to search for Adobe software. You can see I have a lot of it, and I'm looking for Adobe Illustrator. So I'm going to click on that to activate the software. If you're on a different different system, whether it's a Windows or something else, again, just do a search if you've already downloaded it. And we have talked previously how you get the software to download it in the first place. Or you may be working at the lab at school, and I think typically the access to the software is down here in the lower left-hand corner. So, assuming that you all have Adobe Illustrator up, now let's start with a new document. We can do a File and New, Command or Control N, depending again on what software you're in. And if you'll remember previously, we started with a new print document. So this time let's start with a new web-based document. I'm going to title this New Web Document. And if you go here with the preset details, we can go here to Mobile, Web, Print, Film and Video, Art and Illustration. We're going to say Web. And you'll see immediately the alternatives that you can choose here change. We can change the orientation, we can change the width and height. The measuring standard changes from inches, which is what it is in a print document, to pixels, because that's typically what you measure a web-based document in. And then we'll also give you a bleed color mode, automatically defaults to RGB. So we're going to do a create, and you'll see what this web-based document looks like. Now, in our last demo, you drew some with the drawing tool, and I think maybe some with the line segment tool. Let's spend just a little bit of time going over some of the other tools that are available to you. Now, this is a selection tool. A V is the quick key needed in order to access it via your keyboard. This is also a selection tool. It's a direct selection tool. And let me show you what the difference is between a selection tool. All right, I'm going to click off that. Now with a selection tool, I can click on this square and I select the entire object or the entire shape. However, if I go here to get the direct selection tool, what that allows me to do is select one of these anchor points, and then I can manipulate that however I choose, if I choose to just manipulate it to change the shape. Again, I'm going to click off, and then I can click here on this anchor point to again change just the direction or the that particular positioning of that anchor point. Now the other thing that you could do is we can change that anchor point with the type of anchor point, that is, with the pen tool. If you click and hold on the pen tool, you can change. This is considered an anchor point tool. We can click on that, and that's going to change that, if I click and drag, to what's called a rounded anchor point versus a corner anchor point. And I should look up that terminology. That's my own terminology applied to that But again, that's a rounded versus a regular anchor point. And you can change how that's set up again with this anchor point tool, or Shift plus C is the quick key selection, or the quick key keyboard. Now if you click and hold on this direct selection tool, you'll see that you also have access to another selection tool called the group selection tool. And I am going to draw a few more of these. Now I am going to get my selection tool and I'm going to draw an imaginary rectangle around all of these. And then I'm going to do a Command or Control G that groups those into one entire group. So if I have the selection tool, I can just click once on any of these objects and that selects the entire group. Or I can go here to the group selection tool and I can click on one to select one of the objects. If I click on twice, look what happens. I get the entire group again. So these three selection tools, the selection tool V, the group selection tool, or the direct selection tool, they all allow you to select different parts and pieces of a shape that you've drawn or type that you've created. So again, remember, this is the one anchor point selection. It's kind of cool. And then this is the selection tool. If I just click once on one of these objects, it selects the entire group. Or again, hold this down and I get the group selection tool and I can select just one object out of that group and say I wanted to add color to it. So I'm going to go up here to my swatches and I'm going to add color, just a color fill just to that shape. So I'm going to say I want to change the stroke color around this shape. I'm going to click once with the group selection tool. I'm going to go up here to the stroke and you'll see that I currently have black stroke around it. I want to change that to blue. So I change that stroke color to blue and I can also change the width of that stroke. Okay, there you go. So now we have a blue stroked, thick stroke shape and a red shape. All right, so I don't like the way that looks very well. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to get my selection tool, or V. I'm going to click once and that selects the entire group. And then I can go up here and you can see under my group, this is where the colors are established, or here on the swatches panel. Typically you'll have panels over here, and then on the control bar those will also give you the options that you you can use in order to affect change to what we've got selected. Now it's important that you understand that you have to select something with one of these three tools in order to make a change that you desire. All right, so right now I've got the entire group selected. I want to change the group color to all one color. There you go. So the group shapes are all the same color now. Now I'm going to go over here to the stroke color. I'm going to click on the stroke. And remember, I could do this over here on the swatches panel too. So let's go back over here and let's bring the stroke up. This little back line is the stroke around each one of the objects, or suggests the stroke, as well as the bottom of this toolbox. All right, so again, I want to change the stroke color. I can do it here on the control bar with this. I can do it over here on the swatches panel, ensuring that I have the stroke box at the forefront, or I can do it over here on the toolbox, again making sure that the stroke is at the forefront. And I'm going to change that those strokes to an orange or yellow color, and I'm also going to make sure that the strokes are all the same width. There you go. All right, so that's a pretty handy little package there. The selection tools along with the swatches panel, the control bar, or the toolbox. All right, I think that I'll do that. That'll be it for right now. I'll load something else up in just a moment or two. Make sure you text or email or instant message me with any questions you might have.